Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hey viewers, today we have Abhinav Temani with us. So he's a Mumbai University graduate. He did his engineering from Mumbai University and later on went to XLRI to complete his MBA in HR. So today he will be sharing his scoop with all of us. So hi Abhinav, how are you?
Hello everyone. Good evening everyone. I'm good. How are you, sir? How are you doing?
Good, all good here. So Abhinav, can you take us through your background?
Yeah, sure. So currently I am a senior consultant at Ernst & Young, but to go to my past to speak of my academic background, I am an engineer from UDCT Mumbai. It's more popularly now called ICT. So I did my engineering in a niche field called pharmaceutical sciences and technology, after which I went directly to do my MBA. So I did my MBA in HR from XLRI Jamshedpur, and after which I had a campus placement at ENY Mumbai. So
Awesome.
that's what it is.
Great. So I have two main questions. First,
Yeah.
why MBA, and second, why HR?
Yeah, given so many answers to this question in the past, but yeah. So why MBA? So as I said, my field was a very niche field. It was related to manufacturing of pharmaceuticals and medicines. So in my field, any decent career path kind of ended with us going to US to complete our MS degree. So that was a very I would say a mainstream career path which my colleagues used to do, which my batchmates used to do. This was something which I thought a lot about, whether I should go into US into core research. That would have been qualified as a core research, activity. In this to test it out, I did some live research projects back at my university in UDCT in my second year, and to be very honest, it was fun, but I did not want to cross the 7 seas and go to US for that. So I think so that's where I made my mind that I won't go to US to complete my MS per se. So that was one option closed down. Other options which I explored was say MTech in chemical engineering or in pharmaceuticals, whatever was available. I did try to do some research on that too. But what I collected from my primary research was that I was not very happy with the career options there. So then it came down to MBA. Then that's what which came to my scrutiny, and basic research and talking to my colleagues, to my say alums, gave me a fair idea that it looks a very lucrative path to pursue. So that's where I went on to my MBA journey. So that's how it is. Now, why HR? So as you would have seen, like even my MBA selection was more based out of an elimination rather than any selection. So I eliminated MS, I eliminated GATE, GRE, and then I went to MBA. Similarly for HR. So one thing, I was not sure what I wanted to do, but I was very sure what I did not want to do. So like sales was something which I did not want to go into in MBA. So that was kind of a spectrum for me. Like sales was something which I did not want to do. Something like I'm very process oriented by nature. So something like say operations, I was particularly interested in. And HR sat somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. So I was kind of neutral towards HR. So I did a lot of applications, and as and when the results came out, I got a very good option in the form of XLRI HR. So that's how I went ahead with this option.
Yeah, great. Top institute in India for HR.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great. So you thought of doing an MBA. You started with your journey of preparation for CAT, ZAT, and all the other entrances which you must have appeared for. Okay, I always knew that you were already good at quant, you were already good at maths, but still there are times when you face challenges. So can you take us through your preparation strategy or preparation part about I know this is I guess 5 years back, which you are already done.
Yeah.
But if you remember a few points, that will help future MBA aspirants, and also the GDPI part, not only CAT preparation, CAT or ZAT preparation, but also the GDPI preparation.
Sure. I can surely share some bit of insights from there. So my preparation, I start with the tests first, whatever the quant, verbal, all that stuff. So like my strategy then and there was to selection is one thing which I would say which I am majorly focused on during all my preparation, selection of questions. So like what I realized that in most of these tests, like unlike say an IIT JEE, where questions are actually very tough, even if you put in a lot of hours, you are not very sure that you will be able to solve it. But that's not the case with say a CAT or with a ZET. The questions are fairly, fairly solvable. It's just about time. How much time will you take to solve it? And each of us have some strengths. Like somebody may be good in say arithmetics. Somebody of us may be good in say probabilities. Not many of us, to be honest, but there are people who are good in probabilities. So that's where you have to find out what areas are your areas of strength in say a quants, and you should focus that majority of our attempts should come from there. So I would say it's more about selection in all these tests. uh, like right from childhood we are tuned to the mindset that if you solve more you score more, but in these tests I think so the philosophy changes. It's not about how it's more you solve, it's about how smartly you solve as much as you can solve in the given time. So time is a major constraint in this test. So I think so we should come with this mindset about selection. So that's one point. Another point is which I used to focus then on in quants is to make good use of options. So there are many, each question is accompanied by options. That's a plus point, right? I came to know the value of options when I started giving this test. So options do help you a lot. Like even you can eliminate some of the options are very easily eliminated. If you notice, if you see KBC, a 50-50 lifeline makes things so easier. The same happens with our options. If you can delete two options, then last two options can be solved in a lesser time than going to the exact answer step by step. So this was another thing which I used to adopt very heavily. That was on quants. On verbals, again, I would say is that a lot of reading helped. So I did a lot of reading, like Norman Lewis was one of the books that really helped me build my vocabulary skills, and practice, I would say. So like being an engineer, I was more inclined towards say quant problems, but vocabulary was something which I had to work on. And that's where hard work and practice came in a lot. So that's how I dealt with it. So that's my
Correct. So, can you tell us about your? Do you remember your ZAT percentile through which you made to XLRI?
it was 90, around 99, 98.7 or something.
Okay. So I have a question. Like the XLRI BM cutoff is generally around 96 or 97, and for HR is around 94, 95. So why do they keep so less cutoff being a premier institute in India for HR or for BM?
Yes, sir. So they do keep a very liberal cutoff, is because they have a very extensive selection process even after this test. So if I should go into the details, then then they have this video. We have to submit a video before the interviews, video interview kind of. We have to submit a very exhaustive behavioral questionnaire, which tests all our values, all our motives. How we are on the inside. So we have to fill that. And then their process itself, which is PI and GD, all are very exhaustive. And why do I say this is that like I have attended a lot of GDs during my entrance MBA college entrance processes. So most of the GDs are around 10 to 15 minutes within that range. But XLR is one of those colleges which have GD time of around 30-35 minutes. So that's where I say they have a very extensive process, and it's a very small panel. XLRI has a GD panel of around 6 to 7 people. So this is where they are able to select the candidates very closely as compared to say many other institutes. So I think so that helps.
So more on they are focused towards selecting the people than filtering the people.
Yeah, I that's right. But but this is not to say that percentile doesn't help. Obviously, those with a higher percentile do have an edge, but yeah, you always have a chance when it comes to Excel.
Right. Nice. So, do you remember any of the questions that were asked to in PI, or anything that you did for your video interview thing? Any tips for people who might get a call from XLRI?
Yeah, sure. Regarding video interview, it was very I think so that was the first year when they started with the video interview stuff during my batch. So they were very liberal on us, and I'm happy for that, because we had no boundaries. It was open-ended video. We just had to submit a 2-minute video on any topic we like. So I think so that was more around our communication process to speak of, to start with, and also maybe how interesting can we be within those 2 minutes. So there's not much to talk about. It was very open-ended for us. I think so it may have changed over the years though. So that's about video interview. About the actual interview, the interview process, it was largely centered around, say, 3-4 pieces. One is our CV itself, like what we have mentioned on our CV. We were surely asked on that. One was around our academics. So whatever you have put, whatever your background is. I was actually asked a lot of technical questions related to pharma. I was not expecting that, but XRI panel did ask me. So it was a surprise, but maybe some sincerity during the engineering helped me then. So that was one thing which they also tested. Another thing which they checked was a values part. So this is one college which asks a lot on those values stuff. And as I already told, they also have a very exhaustive form on that behavioral and values part. So they had a few questions around what are my core values, how do I conduct myself within my family, just to see how I operate within the social fabric. So that was third part. And last part was they also had some kind of questions which checked my innovation, on the spot thinking skills. So for example, I still remember that one question which was very interesting. They asked me that we all have heard that story of a fox saying that the grapes are sour. They asked me that what could be the different endings for that story. We all know that one ending which is very common, but what could be the different endings for that story, and what can the different morals that come out of it? So it was more about thinking on the spot, how open-minded you are. That was one question which I still remember. So I think so largely it was around this pillars.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so you cracked their second stage process and you went to XLRI. So you were a fresher when you joined XLRI. Now, obviously, you have a good amount of experience, but before XLRI, you were a fresher, right? So were there any challenges that you faced when you were at XLRI, or did you find any issues while coping up with people?
I would not say that there were. I mean, it was challenging for everyone. MBA is built to challenge everyone, so it was as challenging for me as for everyone else. But I cannot recall distinctly any disadvantages of not having a previous work experience, to be very honest. When it comes to, say, SIP process, the pre-placement process or the placement process, you do have some companies which have some base criteria that they need people with so and so work ex. But at the same time, you also have some companies which prefer freshers. So it's equally, in balance for all. So sector-wise, industry-wise, you may have some constraints because you don't have a work ex. But apart from that, I think so it's more or less not a very different experience, with WorkX or without WorkX.
Okay, great. So can you give us certain insights about XLI? Like 2 years at XLI must be mesmerizing and you must be having good memories. And I still remember that you like climbing mountains and you did a lot of activity while you were at an XLR at Jamshedpur specifically. So can you share those 2 years experience with us?
Yeah, sure. So XLRI, like one thing I think so which I should start with is the campus itself. So it's a city within a city. You have everything within that campus. And I was among the lucky batch because they had inaugurated a new section of the campus when we were there. So they had constructed a very new building, learning center too, which they called. And I was a part of that brand new building, brand new hostel. So it was more magnified. The positive experience of being in the very good campus was more magnified for us. So that campus has everything, right from your daily dhabas, your stalls, even Mumbai dosa stalls were there, in that campus. So you don't feel away from home. And obviously there are lots of people around. It's always bubbling with energy. So that campus life is something which it's a core part of, I think so, for everyone, not just XLRI. It's a core part of any MBA experience. So that's, I think so, one thing which stands out. Another thing which stands out is, I think, the pedagogy, the very pedagogy in which MBA classes are conducted and which tests are taken. So, for example, even during my back in my early days, I used to hear that there are some open book tests conducted in, some foreign universities when I was in school. And that used to take me by surprise. Given our traditional teaching systems, I used to think that's so different from what we do. And when I came to XLRI, there were not only open book tests, there were open laptop tests, there were take-home tests. So there's so many ways in which they can test people, and they still used to differentiate people. So it's a very open environment in terms of teaching pedagogy. We had many live projects. There were lot many presentations. I don't recall any day on which we didn't have a presentation. Every day there used to be some kind of group activity in which you had to come forward in front of the class and defend your work. So that's another thing which stands out, the pedagogy. Third thing which I would say is the people itself. So like, this is the most diverse group of people which I had met. Like, there are diverse people, but still all of you are in the same stream. So there is a sense of commonality. But in MBA, it's a completely free market. People come from all places, they come from all backgrounds. So in my batch, I had somebody from ISRO, I had somebody, a doctor, I had somebody from CA background. It was a mix and match of each and everyone. It's nice to see when there are different people around you. You get to learn a lot. So these were the different things. And lastly, I would also point out that in MBA, you get to do a lot of stuff. So like in XLRI, I can speak, is they have a committee and a club for everything. So you have state-wise committees. You have Gujarati committee, you have Marathi committee, where you can learn about each other's culture. And there's a trekking committee, like you mentioned, trekking. There's a committee for trekking, for adventure activities. There are a committee for sports. So for different sports, I mean. So you have options for everything. There's a committee for music. I think so Bodhi Tree is very famous. So you have everything. It's on you what you want to do. So that's a very open and liberal experience. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, so that's it from my side, Avinav. Is there any pro tip that you want to give to the current students, the MBA aspirants?
Pro tip. So one thing which I would like to say, which I kind of highlighted it even earlier, and which I followed it throughout my preparation, was, I think so, it's not about speed. These tests are not about speed. Obviously, speed matters, but it's also about when to stop struggling with the questions, when to move on to the next question. I think so that's the biggest differentiator which you can have among other people. So if we develop that skill of selection, it will go a very long way. Another pro tip is to be very cognizant of what's happening around. I mean, not only in India, not in the world itself, and in your industry specifically. So like, I was from pharma industry. This was kind of one of my learning experiences. I learned it as I sat on different interviews. So, but if you are prepared beforehand, it will help a lot. So learn more about your industry, know where you are coming from, the sector, the domain very well. I think that helps. GK. So I think so these are the two things which I would like to highlight, is we can stick on to that.
Okay, great. So that's it. Thank you so much, Abhinav, for your time and for sharing your scoop with all of us. We wish you luck for your future endeavors.
Sure. And good luck to everyone who are preparing. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye.